we'll learn about Twitch's liability problems from the recent or the current TwitchCon. I don't know if he's going to cover it in this video, but this is mostly going to be the Emeru thing, from my understanding. But there was also a whole scandal with VTuber stuff as well. Apparently, staff were throwing away VTuber gifts. Most people, myself included, thinks they weren't actually throwing it away; they were just stealing it. But yeah, I'm also going to be eating, and you won't hear it, but that's why there'll be pauses in this video. I'm under a bit of a time crunch today.
TwitchCon did not go well, and we're going to talk about it today on the episode of Legal Mindset, where we teach you to be your own judge. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney. I'm back after a short break. It's good to be back with you guys, and it's good to have some time for myself. So let's get right into it. We've got, of course, a PP for you today, a nice PowerPoint on the death of Twitch. It's actually several issues.
Best part is that the CEO, Dan Cansey, was at a party. He was out partying while all this was happening. So yeah, I can't wait for him to be fired. Oh my god.
Issues that are really compounding.
Well, basically, he's not going to be fired. He's going to be quote unquote stepping down.
Some of which we've been talking about on this channel for a very long time. So, of course, the main one, the one that everyone's talking about, and the kind of main death knell I'm seeing here for Twitch.
Oh, never mind. He's going to talk about it.
Is the Emeru assault. And that is due to the failure or lack of security at TwitchCon. She was denied her own bodyguard. There was an assault. An individual came up and attempted to hug, grab, grope her
it was a weird...
without any permission, warning whatsoever. And that is a major, major issue, particularly since we know that Twitch has had security issues in the past. Then we had a bunch of bungled mistakes with Chibidoki's meet and greet, in which she was at first denied entry. There's some reports that she was forced to unmask herself in front of certain people in order to identify herself, and then cutting that meet and greet short.
Know about what?
So a lot of problems there. Then you've got Hassan, the golden boy of Twitch, under pressure, which once again, while not happening at TwitchCon, happening around the same time as TwitchCon, indeed is not good.
If you don't know the backstory, Legal Mindset hates Hassan almost as much as Tectone does. It's really funny.
For Twitch, that's their golden boy. That's Dan Clancy's favorite, and that's an obvious problem for them. And then the last, and one of the most important, is the lack of moderation of Twitch content, which perhaps is the most damaging and puts them in a category along with Roblox in terms of potential regulatory action. So let's start with Emeru's claim. So obviously, if you saw in the video, and most people have seen the video, you can watch that in my live version, which we go over everything and all the video, all the facts. But if you saw that, you saw that, hey, she had concerns. She has a history of stalkers that have come after her. There's a massive history of security issues at TwitchCon and with Twitch events in general. And therefore, there are several causes of action that she could pursue. First, there's the general negligence theory. So that's essentially broad negligence for failure to detain the individual. They just let them walk out. They feel
They said in their tweet and their post that, oh yeah, we found him. No, they didn't. He was later recorded by just some random guy, just like a TwitchCon goer. He was just walking around after like 3 hours still. Don't worry though, guys. He got a 30-day suspension on Twitch. Hassan, Tectone got, what was it, two-week suspension for calling Frogan fat. So apparently those two things, like assaulting a streamer and calling someone fat, is almost the same level, apparently.
To coordinate with law enforcement. Really, they bungled that overall. But beyond that, there's a more specific negligent security claim. So essentially, the organizer failed to provide adequate measures to prevent the incident. So sufficiently trained personnel.
There was like, I swear, in every clip I've seen of TwitchCon this year, I have not seen one Twitch bodyguard, like Twitch staff. I haven't seen one, only at the like meet and greet stations where like you show evidence that like you paid for it and they let you in. That's the only quote-unquote security I've seen from Twitch themselves.
Barriers, etc. Things they could have done to protect Emeru and the streamer. Of course, they did not do that. And given the fact that in 2019, 2022, 2024, and earlier this year in Rotterdam in 2025, there were significant security issues, they should have known. This was not a first off. This is not a first-time event. This is not something they should know about.
They've had security issues just about, almost every single year. 23. I don't remember. Was there one? By the way, from my understanding, the reason there's a gap here is because of COVID. I'm pretty sure they cancelled one or two because of COVID. So this gap might as well not even exist.
Dan Clancy tried to play this off as
so they're 4 for 5 on issues.
Oh, this is just something that happens and it's normal and it's a sign of the times, and streamers can control their community. That doesn't work.
Streamers can't control their community. They can to an extent. I would say they can control like maybe 80%. They're always going to have some group of just morons, right? But for most streamers, like if you tell them, like Hassan, for example, if Hassan doesn't like someone and tells his chat to mass report someone, they will go do that. Like he has control over them. Asmon probably does as well. Tectone does as well. Like, now they don't do it, but I'm saying if they wanted to, they could. I think the most obvious example of it is when a streamer is reacting to someone they don't like or something, and they say, "Oh, don't go harass this person," because maybe you'll have one or two morons who are like, "Oh, I'm gonna leave a hate comment," and then the streamer says, "Don't do that," and then they don't do it because like, "Oh, okay, well they don't want me to do it." There are very few streamers who I think have next to no control over their chat, and that is like Kai. But that's just because Kai has so many people that it would literally be impossible for him. And also they're all like 6, so they don't care. And like your Pokimane, your Cutie Cinderella, like the people whose chat controls them as opposed to vice versa.
An organizer, when you put together
the
an
people
event,
with
you
no
have
spine, their chat controls them. Otherwise, streamers do have some bit of control over their chat in terms of what they do. Obviously not like 100%, but they can persuade, so to speak.
Have a responsibility for that event to be safe, particularly if there are known risks, and streamers are at risk when they're out there, not just from parasocial fans, but people that might want to hurt them or harm them. That's obviously something that is out there. And then you, of course, have breach of contract. So there may have been safety provisions, and I don't know this. This is my speculation. There may have been some provisions in her contract. So if I was her agent, or if I were her himself, I would go to a lawyer and say, hey, look, is there anything in my contract here that was breached? Because it very well may have been something breached in that contract. The last one, though, and I think this one is the most...
I'm sure somewhere in a contract there's something was breached. I would be very shocked if it wasn't.
Poignant is the post-incident handling leading to intentional infliction of emotional distress. I think a lot of things, such as them joking about this and otherwise minimizing it, I think that is absolutely harmful for her.
Twitch's response could be summarized as, no, that didn't happen. Nope, didn't happen. We caught him immediately. In fact, he didn't even exist. This never happened.
Given her history with stalkers, she has a long history with stalkers. It's a known thing for her. And I think failure to do that, inflicting someone with that emotional distress and then taunting them, adding to that fire, definitely makes these viable. So I think that if she goes to a lawyer, these are all things they should look at and consider. Maybe they don't go with all of them. Maybe they just go maybe negligent security and IED, intentional infliction of emotional distress. But these are all things that I think are very viable for Imaru. Let's get into Chibidoki. This is one that was brought up on my VTuber lovers. And this is one where Chibidoki's event, and very beloved VTuber.
I don't watch VTubers, like streams. But whenever I see a Chibidoki clip, it's always so funny. I fucking love
Chibidoki. Had an event that was cut short, so not everybody got to see her. And that's because they were concerned about safety because the line was too long. But beyond that, they also botched the event in terms of the wristband. So they gave her a wristband to enter, and they wouldn't actually let her enter. They had to send her over to the desk to get permission to enter. And at that point, some people have reported she had to unmask herself, which, of course, for VTubers, which have a very, very specific security and financial interest in remaining anonymous. Number one, obviously, just like all other streamers.
If most VTubers showed their face, they'd be fucked. At least the female ones. The guys, I don't think it matters as much. But with the women, it's a case of, because let's be honest, VTubers attract a very at least the female ones, most of the female ones, they attract a very power social audience. Now there are some who don't. Like, I would say Smugglana is a pretty non-parasocial chat from what I've seen. But a lot of them they know this as well, that a lot of the chat wants to like imagine them as like their girlfriend or whatever, right? And they can't show their face. Now, from the faces I have seen that are like publicly available, like these girls aren't ugly. Like most of them are very, very attractive. Like conventional nines across the board. Nines or like tens. But the thing is, if they show how they look, it creates an issue because there's like two types of people. There'll be one who just want to imagine like basically they're dating the VTuber itself, like the model. And then there's others that like, I think of it kind of the same way as horror. It's like whatever you make up in your mind is going to be the scariest thing to you. So if you show something, it immediately becomes less scary. It's the same, but for like a woman. Someone can create in their mind like the most attractive woman physically possible, like that fits all of their types, like ticks all the boxes. But obviously, like people like that don't exist, or maybe it's literally 1 in a billion. So statistically speaking, the VTuber isn't going to tick every one of their like boxes. So they're like, oh, I don't like this person anymore, and they're going to move on to someone else who hasn't shown their face. You know, that is a massive, massive problem they have. But the reason why, like, at least for guys, it's not as much as a problem is because usually, this goes for like all guy streamers who don't show their face. It's like their chat kind of just sees them as like a bro, like a homie, or like an older brother in some cases. There's nothing relationship wise going on there. Except Dream, but Dream was a very unique case. He just had a really weird. That whole group just has a really fucked audience.
Their identity
of just like horny 13-year-olds who just want to ship everyone with everyone. Everyone has to be gay. Everyone has to be in a relationship. Everyone. It's like, all right, calm the fuck down.
If they choose to remain anonymous and put them at risk, put them at massive risk. But beyond that, if you're thinking about these people financially, VTubers financially, a lot of them base their entire strategy, their entire monetary strategy on not being unmasked. So if they're forcing a VTuber to unmask himself, to reveal himself, that is something that could undercut their actual financial stream, their really model, and therefore I think there could be some financial damages there as well. So let's go over Hassan. This is one I really find interesting. So at the exact same time, this is
hard, man. Will never not be funny to me that this dipshit's community calls me a LARPer. You are a LARPer, though. Oh, sorry, I thought this was Hassan tweeting. No, yeah, Hassan is a LARPer. Reporting from Ukraine after 15 years of war, and this dog, Shock, is cosplaying and walking around peaceful. Yeah, Hassan loves to talk a big game, but he will only ever go where he is definitively safe. Like, the whole thing of reporting is, yeah, it's dangerous, but, like, you're getting info out there. Like, going to an active war zone. To Hassan, this is an active war zone. Because, oh, what if somebody hurts me? What will I do? Because, again, I've said this before, he's just lived a very sheltered life. Like, his whole life has just been given to him on a silver platter. Like, everything. He hasn't had to work for anything, admittedly. He has had to work somewhat hard for his career. I think less hard than most other people would have to, because he did have the advantage of Young Turks and stuff. Or his uncle, just in general. But my brain just fucking blanked. What was I saying? Whatever, let's go.
Happening. I've seen several videos of Hassan kind of hitting his limit where he's saying, I'm just tired of streaming. Nothing's working. You know, no real change is happening. You see him out here with his dog.
I love that excuse. No real change is happening. Hassan, if you were a real leader, you do the change yourself. You're just sitting back. You're doing the leftist maneuver where you just sit back and wait for someone else to do everything. It's like if every single person is waiting for someone else to do something, nothing is going to happen.
And he's walking wearing a bulletproof vest with a press a label on it, a press chevron on it, walking around a very, very peaceful city. And people are obviously pillorying him for that. I will say this, and I am obviously taking a different route, and you've seen this with a lot of my coverage of Somali Vitali, where even the people that are my enemies, even the people that don't like me, I still say they deserve a chance, they deserve an option to do good, to be forgiven, to choose the right path, choose the good.
Right. Well, Hassan has been given about 50,000 options, and he has failed every single time.
Path. Even Hassan, I'm willing to look past all the defamation that he's done and say, hey, Hassan, for the best, and I can say this myself, having just taken a streaming break, it's one of the best things I did in my life, to just take a solid break where I just didn't look at the internet for several days. That actually was
I did that, but I did it for Twitter. I still haven't opened Twitter. I am afraid to open that app. I think I would have just do what Faf does, where he opens it, makes tweet, and just closes it again.
Good. And one of the things I did do during that time was do some charity work. I actually gave some, we helped somebody prepare food and give it to the less fortunate. I did some donations, helping out the homeless, going to the temples here in Thailand. And once again, I think that's very fulfilling.
Oh, yeah,
Hassan's in LA. They got Skid Row down there between, 3rd and 7th, right? Where he could go down there and help the homeless, help people out. If he wants to do something in line with his social.
No, he won't. Hassan would rather die than actually help someone. Unless he can record it and make himself look good in the process. If he can do that, then he will.
He could go start a community garden. He could go pick up a shovel and start digging and plant some plants. Whatever. I think that would actually do him some good right now, rather than streaming and continuing to dig himself deeper, as Collargate is not going anywhere anytime soon. That's going to be going on for a very, very, very long time. And I think it actually...
Collargate is going to become one of those things that's going to be called to attention every time he does something bad. So, like, next month. Because it's like, it's going to be the same thing with, like, the brothel thing, the calling the cops on his ex to harass her type thing, where it's like, you're just adding to that list. And inevitably that list is going to get so long that he will start bleeding people eventually. Collargate did a little bit, but not much. But I feel like it's pushed people more towards, like, a tipping point.
Raises some very interesting questions, particularly in regards to, and I do stand by this, of, hey, look, you're putting the shock collar on the dog, put the shock collar on Hassan. Someone actually suggested to me that they do it as an armband or on the dog.
Food shops, remember that retard? She came up in my fucking recommended, and it was, she's a Hassan Glazer and Destiny Glazer. I think it's a she. I don't even fucking know. They look like a lizard. But anyway, I can't say much. I'm a VTuber. Anyway, and she was tweaking out because of this comment to put the e-collar on Hassan.
Dominant hand or on the wrist. So it shocks somebody there if they go to do an action, which would be very, very, very Pavlovian training for somebody who's doing something wrong. But once again, I think Hassan definitely needs to step back for a second, as kind of the profile of a spoiled Nepo baby who's never seen anything real, instead of going out
and for any definitive amount of time, he won't ever step back. He lives for attention.
Doing fashion shoots and GQ or whatever else. He needs to go out and actually help people, and maybe he'll be more fulfilled, and maybe he'll actually go down a better path. But of course, we can only hope, right? We can only hope. Now, let's go here with moderation. This is a big one, and this is one that I'm very interested in, particularly as I think it's heading down the Roblox route, essentially, because with recent tests, which I've seen others run on Twitch, with starting a new channel and trying to stream whatever, including very vile content that would not be acceptable on most other major platforms, stuff that would get you banned immediately. Well, all of that stuff bypassed the filters, all that stuff got on Twitch without any moderation. And the big issue that appears to happen is Twitch appears to lack any automated moderation, relying on manual moderation. The problem with that, with purely manual moderation, particularly if it's not getting the most vile stuff, is number one, you're letting a lot of stuff that clearly breaks TOS pass. But beyond that...
Wait, so does that mean every time a VTuber gets banned for showing too much hip, it's not an auto mod? I assumed it was an auto mod, which is why it was stupid. But that makes it worse if it's... No, they have to have an auto mod. There's no way they don't. It's probably just a shit auto mod.
That you're actually engaging in discriminatory moderation. So some are punished severely, some are punished a very long time. You call somebody fat, you're out
Yeah, I was
for,
gonna say for
a month, whatever, right? Whereas others are not punished at all. They're given a pass. This is something that leads to a massive danger for regulatory action, that is states taking action. And especially if this dangerous content is getting out there to people that are minors, which is a massive part of the Twitch ecosystem. So if you look at the Roblox regulatory action, you could see very similar stuff happening on Twitch because they know this is an issue. They very well know this is an issue, and they're just choosing to ignore that. So my conclusions here are Twitch is facing all of these issues at once. And because they're facing all of these issues at once, once again, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next week. But this can be the death spiral for Twitch. This could be as they go down or as they get hit. And what could happen? Well, of course, you also have parent company Amazon, which was just cyber attacked, likely due to their over-reliance on AI by Amazon Web Services. That just happened today, right? You could have a lot of that stuff maybe is going to be automated. Maybe AI is going to take over. Of course, there's problems with that. As you see, without a human link in that chain, it can be kind of sloppy. It can miss things. It can over-regulate.
Like, the thing is, Amazon doesn't really give a fuck about Twitch. We've known this since day one, since they bought it. They bought Twitch for I think it was the code. They don't give a fuck about Twitch, right? They bought it just for what Twitch was. Like, from my understanding, whatever they bought Twitch for, I think it was the code, but I could be wrong, is the same thing that's running Kick. Like, they bought it so that they can have other streaming sites, like, pay Amazon to their servers, I think it was, actually. They can pay to use their servers. That's why they bought it. They don't actually give a fuck about Twitch itself. Because Twitch loses money, like, every day, every year. I don't think Twitch has ever been profitable. At least since Amazon bought it. Maybe it was before that, I don't know.
And I think the time is right for lawsuits right now, regulatory action replacement of Twitch leadership, aka Dan Clancy. So I think the time is right for all of these things. And I think we should continue to monitor it very, very closely because I think there will be action. Emeru definitely should bring a claim, definitely should try something against Twitch. There's no reason not to at this point, and there's more than enough basis for her to bring that on one of those causes of action. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments below.
If Emeru were to sue Twitch, is she safe? Like, could they ban her for that? I know at least in Ireland, you're not allowed, if you're suing your employer, they can't fire you. You have a protection against that. But also, isn't Emeru, like, technically speaking, she's not an employee of Twitch. She's like an independent contractor, I suppose. So do they operate on separate? I'm genuinely asking, I don't know. I mean, I would imagine she has protection, but I'm not positive. Yeah, if you want to fix Twitch, unironically, basically just remove that whole board, Dan Clancy and all the uppers, replace them with, like, actual humans, and not 60-year-old fossils who don't know what Wi-Fi is, and Twitch will be fine. Anyway, I'll see you all tomorrow. We have a Think Before You Sleep video to do tomorrow, which I am excited for. But I was under a time crunch, so I didn't do it today. Alright, I'll see you tomorrow.